It's really hard to run without legs. But when I was 4 years old, that's all I wanted to do. So when I got my brand new running blades with bright blue lightning bolts, aren't they awesome? I just couldn't wait to try them out. But I learned quickly, running with prosthetics doesn't come naturally. I had to learn to swing my hips in order to take steps. And after weeks of trying, I just couldn't get it. But then one night, something shifted. I was playing with my sister Callie at this restaurant called Back 40 Barbecue. And lost in the moment, I forgot that I couldn't run. I've never forgotten the feeling of running. The wind in my face, keeping up with the other kids, even the smell of the barbecue. After that, everyone started calling me Tigger. Another reason I haven't forgotten this moment is because it reminds me how easy it is to believe our doubts are immovable obstacles we're powerless to change. But in the right circumstances, we can blast through them in an instant. My childhood was a little bit different, and it's given me a unique perspective on difficulty and the importance of attitude. It's a perspective I think can really help people my age who struggle with depression and anxiety. Most people have early memories of their first day of preschool or their first time seeing the ocean. One of my earliest memories was being carried back to the operating room by my anesthesiologist, Dr. Hogue. Now I want to do a quick audience poll here. Raise your hand and keep it raised if you've had one surgery. How about 5 surgeries? 10? Well, I don't mean to brag, but I've had 32 major surgeries. That's 32 times of hugs and kisses from my mom as they wheeled me up to the red line where she'd say, "Love you. See you soon." 32 times of waking up groggy with a sore throat, in pain, wondering, did it work? See, I was born 6 weeks early. I guess it's kind of always been my thing, being early. Even today, I showed up an hour before my talk. But doctors told my parents I wasn't going to make it through the night. Years later, I remember watching an interview with my mom where she remembers telling those doctors, "No, he's going to be just fine." And when she said that, she teared up a little bit. And sometimes I still tear up when I think about that and all the challenges she went through. She was the first to show me the power of doubting doubts. Doubting doubts. Anyway, the problem was I had congenital abnormalities due to sacral agenesis. And if I did make it through the night, I would need surgery the next day in order to survive. When I was 15 months old, I had surgery to amputate my legs. It was either that or live my life in a wheelchair. 3 months later, I was using a doctor's fingers to take my first steps. Now, some of you might be sitting there thinking, wow, it's so sad he had to lose his legs. But actually, I think I've been pretty lucky. Doctor said I wasn't going to make it through the night. Think I did. They said I was never going to walk or run. I have. Then they said, Cody is never going to lead a normal life. Actually, that's the one they got right. My life has been extraordinary. I've been to the Vatican to share my experiences working with wounded warriors. I happen to have the perfect physique for a legless zombie impression. A few years ago after Halloween, I was infamous on campus. The legless crawler of Clyce Hall. But here's the biggest reason I think I'm lucky. From a young age, and with a lot of help from others, I learned to cope with adversity in ways most people my age never have. It's been like an accelerated coping program. It really bothers me to see so many people struggling with self-doubt. Aren't we supposed to be the ones who want to change the world and make it a better place? And yet, according to research, we're the most depressed and anxious generation in recent history. Look, I don't need to go quote multiple studies for you to know that we're struggling, but the stats are pretty eye-opening. A recent study found that Gen Z has the worst mental health compared to recent generations. Only 45% of us are doing good emotionally, lowest of any group. And get this, 42% of people born between 1990 and 2010 have been diagnosed with a mental health condition. That's almost 1 in 2 people. That's a crazy high number. School shootings and family separation, it's taken its toll on us. We need better coping tools. So I want to give y'all a framework to help get over your self-doubt. Because we can't see a positive way forward until we deal with the bad stuff. We need to learn to pinch the screen to get a better view of the opportunities and possibilities that surround us. When we limit ourselves, we don't even think about the possibility. We tell ourselves that we can't do good things, important things. For example, since I was 3 years old, I've wanted to be a pediatric anesthesiologist. You should have seen the look on Ellen's face when I told her that a few years later. Now, everyone always asks me, why do you want to be an anesthesiologist? 5-year-old me would say, because you get to put in the IVs. But now, I know it's what I want to do because I want to be there for my patients in their darkest times, when they're afraid and hurting. Just like Dr. Hogue and so many others were there for me, keeping me safe, supporting me, and making the procedure as painless as possible. I believe you can be your own anesthesiologist. Now, I don't mean like the kind that you see on TV that just sit there in the corner reading a book, but the real deal. You can be the one who manages, not erases, the fear and pain. Remember, fear amplifies the pain and doubts. Anesthesiologists don't just numb you. They also calm you. And you can learn to calm yourself. When I was little, I was terrified of surgery. But now, I can honestly say I'm more curious than afraid. I've always wanted to use my story to help others. Back in high school, I was asked to give a presentation in front of all 4,000 students about overcoming challenges. So I came up with this phrase, PosiCan, which is positivity with an I can attitude. Sounds good, right? But now I think it's something much deeper. And I've gotten this from listening to others' excuses and thinking, why are you so positive you can't? And this is really the big takeaway here. Questioning your doubts and being genuinely curious to what's possible. Have you ever realized whenever we have a really big decision, a risky challenge, or a disappointing setback, how easy it is to just accept our doubts as fact or as something terrible? And what about the possibilities? I think we should be suspicious of our doubts and a whole lot more open-minded to our options and opportunities. I think it's weird how we get this backwards a lot of the time. And I realize doubting our doubts doesn't come naturally. We live in this age of easy answers. Just ask ChatGPT. Have you ever considered, though, that saying no to making an effort or I can't when it comes to an opportunity are just easy answers? I know a lot of people my age who, whenever something starts to look bad or isn't going as they expected, They just throw their hands up to the sky and act like the world is ending. They go straight to the worst possible outcome. I'm never going to find the right person. Oh, that will never work. I am so going to fail this exam. But really, deep down, they really don't know. We don't know what the future holds or what might happen if we really try. We need to learn to watch our language. Another way I'm lucky, I won the mom lottery. From a young age, my mom wouldn't let me say these two words, no and can't. This was her way of training me to doubt my own doubts. We need to learn to listen to ourselves when we use doubtful language, such as no and I can't. Because once we start to listen and notice it when we use it, we can test our negative assumptions. And once you do that, you naturally start to wonder, what if? What if I could? What if I were to try something different? Breaking this pattern of pessimistic thinking is the first step, and probably the hardest. Look, I realize bad stuff happens. Maybe I'm making it sound simple, but facing your fears and doubts isn't always easy. I learned this after returning from a ski trip in 2019. A few weeks afterwards, I started to have a tingling pain in my back, which became unbearable. Suddenly, I lost all feeling below my waist and was rushed into emergency spine surgery. The surgical team spent 5 hours untangling nerves and removed a piece of scar tissue about the size of a peanut, which doesn't sound that big, but when it's in your spinal canal, that's like a huge cannonball. Anyways, at first it seemed like the surgery was a success. Things improved briefly, but then weird stuff started happening. I lost control of my bladder for 2 months. Then I got an infection. Doctors had no idea what was going on. Mentally, I was at a really low point. I hated having no control, not even over my own bladder. I was so depressed. All I could do was lay there. I was stuck. What do you do when this happens? When you feel like you want to curl up in a ball and cry? Looking back, this was a crucial moment for me. I realized I needed help. Otherwise, I would just continue to sink. I needed counseling for things to get better. Sometimes life is more than we can handle by ourselves. We have to reach out for help, and it doesn't always have to come from a professional. We have to be reminded, we're not fortune tellers. We can't see the future. We have to be open and patient to see where life takes us. I've always loved swimming, since before I could walk. It's just so freeing. When I'm in the water, I have no disability. So I went to my first US Paralympic swim meet at 10 years old, and at 14, I went to my first US Paralympic trials. I didn't make the team then. I also didn't qualify in 2020. I can't say I haven't been discouraged, but I know just because I haven't made the team doesn't mean I never will. I just haven't made it yet. So I started preparing. For the 2024 US Paralympic trials in Minneapolis. But in 2022, I caught COVID. I was out for 3 months, but I came back. Then I blew out an eardrum and was out for 9 months. It looked like my swimming career was over. But then after a successful surgery, the situation changed. Right now, I'm making the final push towards my dreams. And with the support of my teammates and my coaches, I'm ready to go for it. Now, before we wrap up, I want to leave a pebble in your shoe. That's P-E-B-L. Now, pebbles in my shoe don't really bother me. But I've heard they can be very annoying to those of you with feet. See, I want you to be annoyed now when you realize the doubt in the power it has in your life. So I have a gift for everyone. This little black shiny pebble. I want you to use it to debunk your doubts. I want everyone to grab one today on your way out. Don't worry, there's more than enough for everyone. Use it to help you remind yourself of the acronym Pebble. P, pinch the screen so we can get a better view of the possibilities that surround us. Examine our assumptions. Remember, we're not fortune tellers. Blast the limitations, just like my mom did with the doubting doctors. Make it like a game to assume the best instead of the worst. Look for help. It's okay to ask for help in your deep, dark times. Sometimes, that's all you can do. Seriously, this framework works. In fact, I used it just now backstage before coming out here. We have to remember, the only disability we really face is a closed mind. When in doubt, doubt your doubts. Thank you.